Well, it's also been reported that Donald Trump is set to stop Britain's deal to give away the Chagos Islands when he returns to the White House. That was following criticism, severe criticism, from Republicans on the Hill.
Keir Starmer just got humiliated by none other than Donald Trump, all because of yet another questionable decision that only he could think was a good idea. I mean, seriously, who thought this man was ready to handle the responsibilities of running an entire country? Because here we are, watching him stumble his way through signing the Chagos Islands agreement, a move so obviously flawed it might as well come with a neon sign inviting foreign interference.
As we saw with Hong Kong, these agreements can very, very easily be broken. Diego Garcia was described to me by a senior Trump advisor as the most important island on the planet as far as America was concerned.
Handing over control of strategic islands to other countries? Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's like Starmer went in with his eyes shut, pretending the whole situation wasn't a ticking time bomb for both the UK and the US.
All I can tell you is that I've spoken to people in the military here, I've spoken to people close to the incoming Trump administration, and there are deep concerns about a Mauritian government that is moving a long way to the left, that doesn't appear to like America very much, that is getting closer to China, even though it's not part officially.
And then, of course, we have Trump, who wasted no time in calling out this blunder, telling Starmer to scrap the deal immediately or face some serious consequences. But thanks to our visionary Prime Minister, it's us who'll be dealing with the fallout.
Well, it's definitely up in the air, and it will need to be signed off by the new US president. He's due to be sworn as in that role on January the 20th, and after that, everything's in play. So I think the deal they agreed and announced on October the 3rd, before elections in Mauritius, which many attacked, particularly on the Tory side, even though the Tory government started the talk.
Now, if you haven't heard how this disaster unfolded, buckle up, because the details are even more absurd. So the thing is, Keir Starmer, in a stroke of what I can only assume is unmatched brilliance, decided to sign off on handing control of the Chagos Islands back to Mauritius. Sounds harmless, right? Just a generous act of international goodwill? Wrong, because one of these islands, Diego Garcia, isn't just some random tropical getaway. Nope, it's basically the crown jewel of US military bases in the region.
This crucial military base, he is right on that one point, was under threat. International courts were reaching judgments, international organisations were taking steps not to undermine Mauritian sovereignty, and this threatened the secure and effective operation of the base.
We're talking long-range bombers, naval support, and operations covering the entire Asia-Pacific. But no, Starmer thought it'd be a fantastic idea to hand these islands back, citing some international court ruling that, brace yourself for this, isn't even legally binding. Honestly, it's like he's running a masterclass on how to shake up decades of hard-won geopolitical stability and create a massive headache for the United States. But still, Labour Party has the balls to say,
in the first place, but it was this government that did the deal. Diego Garcia is absolutely important, but it is not at risk. It is more secure as a result of this deal. So what he is suggesting is simply not the case.
Well, guess who's watching this mess unfold with laser-like focus? Donald Trump. To Trump, this deal is practically a personal insult. He sees it as a gigantic security risk, and let's be real, he's not entirely wrong. If the US loses Diego Garcia, or, heaven forbid, hostile nations, hi China, get a whiff of American vulnerability, the balance of power in Asia could do a backflip overnight.
It is a wrong decision, and we stand by that completely. A month has now gone since the government's announcement, but we're still in the dark about exactly what the government has agreed, and this is simply not acceptable. We have no treaty, and vital questions remain unanswered. That is unacceptable, and the Minister needs to put that right today.
And Starmer didn't just pick any old moment to pull this stunt. No, he signed this deal just as Trump's team is gearing up to take power again. The timing is so bad, it's almost like Starmer was trying to hand his opponent a gift-wrapped crisis. Trump, of course, isn't known for being the forgiving type. Instead of quietly fuming, he's getting ready to strike back, hard. His opening move? A brutal 20% tariff on UK goods.
For me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff, and it's my favorite word. It needs a public relations firm to help it. But to me, it's the most beautiful word in the dictionary.
Yep, if Starmer goes ahead with the Chagos Islands deal, Trump is prepping to tank the UK economy faster than you can say special relationship. And let's be clear, Trump's threats aren't empty. He's been getting Pentagon briefings, consulting legal experts, and preparing to deploy every ounce of power he has to bury this deal 6 feet under.
No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT. We will not raise income tax. We will not raise national insurance. We will not raise VAT.
And that 20% tariff is not just a headline, it's an economic wrecking ball aimed straight at the UK. Think about it. The car industry, steel production, aluminum exports, all of them hanging by a thread. The UK shipped $3.6 billion worth of cars to the US in 2021 alone. A tariff like this would be a disaster, obliterating entire sectors, wiping out thousands of jobs, and leaving the already shaky UK economy in shambles. We're not talking abstract numbers here. We're talking about real people, real families, and the harsh reality of global politics.
I sat listening to the numbers thinking this budget is illiterate. I don't know who's doing the sums, whether perhaps it's the Right Honourable Member for Hackney North, but the sums do not work. And the markets now agree with me.
And if you think Trump's acting solo, think again. His team is a who's who of national security hawks, with Marco Rubio already sounding the alarm, warning that Starmer's deal practically rolls out the red carpet for Chinese espionage. These guys are ready for a fight, and they see Starmer as the reckless villain of this unfolding drama. Rubio and the rest are circling, and Starmer is looking more like prey than a confident leader. What's most mind-blowing is that all of this chaos could have been avoided. Starmer had options. He could have stalled, negotiated, or at least waited for a more stable moment in US-UK relations. But no, he charged ahead, setting off a chain of events that now threatens economic mayhem and puts him squarely in Trump's crosshairs. Now, we're all left watching as Trump prepares for economic warfare, Starmer scrambles to undo the damage, and an entire nation braces for impact. One wrong move, and this whole situation could come crashing down faster than you can say, worst decision ever.
There was a vote in the UN, we lost that, we lost some court cases, and increasingly London felt it was impossible to hang on to it. At the heart of the problem now is Diego Garcia, this military base, which is a real, which the US want to hang on to, but under the deal we would give back control and sovereignty of the base after 100 years.
Behind the scenes, Nigel Farage is making waves in classic Farage fashion. Because, let's be honest, when has he ever quietly retired into obscurity? Nope, the man is back, and this time he's set his sights on the Chagos Islands debacle. Keir Starmer's already sweating bullets trying to handle Donald Trump's aggressive threats, but Farage, he's cranking the pressure up to 11.
And there are deep, deep concerns about a Mauritian government that is moving a long way to the left, that doesn't appear to like America very much, that is getting closer to China, even though it's not part officially of the Belt and Road Initiative. And it's all well and good saying there's a lease deal, but hey, we heard there was a lease deal on democracy in Hong Kong, and look what's happened to that.
Farage actively lobbying Trump's team to slam the brakes on Starmer's reckless deal. We're talking about serious behind-closed-doors whisper campaigns where Farage is making sure Trump's advisors know exactly how dangerous and, let's face it, catastrophically dumb he thinks this decision is. And Farage isn't just whispering in Washington. Oh no, he's gone full throttle, warning Parliament back in the UK about what's coming. He's on record predicting a major meltdown, painting a grim picture of Trump's team, names like Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, who are ready to go ballistic over this.
I think this will be a source of great concern for the Americans. Would have been very difficult to do the Gulf War, very difficult to do the Iraq War without Diego Garcia. It is that and Guam are the only real assets America's got in that whole part of the world. It is something that is very important. It is something that will be discussed, obviously, and of course I have my own view on that.
Rubio, set to be Secretary of State, is practically seething, while Hegseth, the military hardliner turned Fox News pundit, isn't holding back either. Farage claims that these heavyweights are poised to unleash chaos if Starmer doesn't pull a complete U-turn. He's so confident in his doom predictions that he's all but dared British lawmakers to ignore him, warning them that Trump's retaliation will be as swift as it is brutal.
Well, I would remind the public the last time 2.5 was met was under the last Labour government.
But Farage isn't content with just sounding alarms. He's turning this whole mess into an opportunity to roast Keir Starmer for his utter lack of foresight. To hear Farage tell it, Starmer is a clueless amateur, fumbling around in the dark with zero awareness of how delicate the US-UK relationship really is. Farage has been merciless, mocking Labour's foreign policy as if it's being crafted by toddlers. And he's not wrong about one thing: his moves are calculated.
How much money will Labour be asking British taxpayers to send to Mauritius each year under this deal, which we don't even know the details of? Which departmental budgets will this come from? What's the total figure? The House expects transparency on this, Mr. Speaker, including about what taxpayers are funded.
By hammering on Starmer's ineptitude, Farage is actively shaking public confidence in the Prime Minister, transforming this diplomatic crisis into a full-blown PR nightmare. Every misstep Labour makes, Farage amplifies, painting Starmer as a hapless leader in way over his head. Now, let's rip into Labour's foreign policy, which critics argue is nothing short of a hot mess. The Chagos Islands blunder isn't just a one-off. It fits perfectly into a pattern of Labour looking unprepared and scattered on the world stage. The whispers about Starmer's lack of strategy aren't just coming from his enemies either. Even people within Labour are getting nervous, watching him flail around while Trump, an unpredictable powerhouse, gears up for a showdown. The timing couldn't be worse, and Starmer's been scrambling like mad, trying to contain the fallout from Trump's threats. But so far, it's like trying to plug a dam leak with bubblegum.
The House expects transparency on this, Mr. Speaker, including about what taxpayers are funding, and we need to hold the government to account on this. So can the Minister please give a cast-iron guarantee that the UK will be able to unilaterally extend the agreement?
Meanwhile, instead of laser-focusing on this transatlantic crisis, Starmer has been busy flaunting new defence agreements with countries like Germany, Romania and Poland. On the surface, sure, it looks impressive. But scratch the surface and you'll find a lot of critics calling it what it is: a desperate attempt to distract from the absolute chaos he's created with the Chagos Islands deal. These partnerships are supposed to scream strength and unity, but they do little to address the colossal economic threat of Trump's 20% tariff. With every half-baked move Starmer makes, it's painfully obvious he's navigating a sea of problems he never anticipated.
For Starmer and David Lammy, if Donald Trump were to just say, nope, not happening.
Well, isn't this the bonkers thing about it all? Why would it be embarrassing for the British government to maintain British territory?
And then there's Labour's infamous defence spending promises. Back in March 2023, Labour made a grand pledge to boost defence spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2030. Fast forward to now, and that promise is looking more fragile than a house of cards in a hurricane. Trump is breathing down our necks, demanding stronger defence commitments from NATO allies, and Labour's hesitance is giving off major weakness vibes. In the middle of this storm, Starmer's attempts at diplomacy are starting to look like desperate damage control. His foreign policy isn't just inconsistent, it's all over the place. As Trump's team gears up to play hardball, Starmer's scrambling with defence deals that aren't convincing anyone. It's a high-stakes game, and with Farage amplifying every mistake and Labour's defence promises ringing hollow, Starmer is in deeper trouble than ever.